We are dreamers.
Frontline workers.
Students.
Visionaries.
Healthcare workers.
Bankers.
Engineers.
Educators.
Designers.
Nurses.
We're multi-passionate people.
Dog lovers.
Podcasters.
Pro golfers.
We're hardworking.
Blue collar.
Strong. Loving.
Loyal.
We are advocates.
We're the sons and daughters of Lansing.
Moms.
Dads.
Friends.
Neighbors.
We are family.
We are tradition.
We are perseverance.
We are resilient.
We are old.
We're young. We are the future.
We are fans.
We are supporters.
We are smoking bubbles.
We are soccer.
We are football.
We are a community club.
Community focused.
Community owned.
And we are community built.
This is Lansing's Club.
Lansing's Club.
Lansing's Club.
Lansing's Club.
We are Lansing Common FC.
Lansing Common FC.
Lansing Common FC.
Lansing Common Football Club.
We are Lansing Common FC. Let's go.
The Robin needed a podcast, and thus here we are. Welcome to the best and only Lansing Soccer Podcast. I am your host. My name is Weston Shelton, back from an epic bender. We won't go into details about that, but it's good to be back. It's good to talk about 3 Lansing Common FC points against an undefeated team. Huge win this past weekend in what I guess is now dubbed the Tornado game, 3-2. A lot of good stuff to hit, previews for this upcoming week and going into this game. But first, let's take you around the table to who we got behind the scenes, the disembodied voice of the Robin Pod, Steve Beckman. How's it going, Steve?
It's good. Getting ready for a road trip to Fort Wayne tomorrow and a big one on Sunday against DCFC.
Would you call it a big one?
I would call it the biggest one so far.
Ooh. I'm excited to get your tornado logistics takes later in the pod.
All right, I'll bring them.
All right. We are also joined by Eric Walcott. He's made it. He was in a meeting, I believe, but he's here. How's it going, Eric?
I'm just happy to be here. And two big games this week. I mean, obviously the one tomorrow's a friendly, but like probably the most exciting.
We'll begin into that. We'll begin into that. Don't skip ahead of the outline, Eric.
I got to do everything I can to throw your outline off, man.
You were in an MWPL meeting just now?
Yeah, I was.
Okay, we'll be asking you for juicy gossip later. Also joined by one of the commentators for Lansing Common FC and just interviewing players in the rain like a champ. I think you guys were camped out in the locker room for a while. Luca Maloney, the trooper of all troopers. How's it going, Luca?
Going great. How about you?
Good. Pursuing your soccer commentating career in this weather versus San Diego weather. You know, that was a choice of yours, and you're living with that choice, but it is what it is.
That was a hell of an experience. I actually had a lot of fun.
You guys, I'm watching the interviews, and you're just clearly getting rained on and just completely unfazed. Your hair looked great still, so props.
Appreciate that one.
and finally, bringing you the fan perspective / all the inside info from PA announcing, Matt Shartow. What a niche you have on this pod.
Yeah, I'll be the Josh Rosendale, the fill-in sub. I'll sub for PA announcing. I'll sub on this at the last minute. Thanks for bringing me back. I'm feeling a lot better than last week. For those who didn't know, I had just gotten my injection for the vaccine, and every time I muted and turned off the video, I was feeling really sick. Let's just put it that way. But doing better, vaccinated. So good to see you.
We're definitely happy to hear that. And I know, I'm sure it makes you feel special when you get 3 hours notice every time on these. So you're welcome. All right. Let's get into the goals. There was a lot of them, and this one is arguably the most, I'll say it's the most exciting game of the year, in my opinion. All played under tornado watch, so props to the 100 plus that were there. But let's get to the first goal. 13th minute, Lansing Common with a strong string of play to start, and yet it was BiH taking the first goal. You can see long ball right here to their striker. Gibbons was kind of on him for a second. Seems to let him go to Aiden O'Connor. Aiden O'Connor's kind of off kilter. I believe, Mendez from BiH, pretty skilled guy. Puts it home. Weird play. Luca, I don't know if I'm missing something tactically here, but honestly, I was confused about Gibbons letting him off and then not getting involved in the play after. It didn't seem like he had any other responsibilities there in the wing.
Yeah, it seems like just a lapse of concentration there in the first 12 minutes of the game. But the good thing is that he put a good performance after that goal was scored on him. And yeah, it should have been a better effort in trying to obviously get those balls coming in long and over the top secured. But hey, they got a response right away.
Yeah, he definitely recovered after this. BiH was trying this a lot of the game, and they were off most of the time. And it seemed like
this was
Lansing
one out of
adjusted.
two. This was really 1 out of 2 times they won us on that long ball.
Exactly. Anything else you spotted there on that one, Eric?
The only thing just occurred to me watching that replay is I almost wonder if Gibbons expected Nicholson to come out for it, because you see he kind of isn't going hard, and then he kind of puts his arms out in confusion. And when I first saw it, I thought maybe he thought that O'Connor was gonna step to that ball quicker. But now I'm watching again, and I'm almost wondering if he just thought Nicholson was gonna come for it, and then they were just clearly, of the three of them, none of them were on the same page on that play.
I wonder if the wet turf played a role too. You can kind of see the ball splotch a little bit as it hits the turf. Maybe early on in the game too. It's tough to predict exactly how it's going to go until you get a little used to it. I actually played basketball on a very kind of slick surface the other day, and about 5 games in, you started anticipating when you were going to slip. So I'm sure they were dealing with similar stuff.
Yeah, I will say Luca and Cam had commented many times about the slick surface, and being on and around the turf, I didn't feel that the turf was very slick as much as the rubber pellets had shifted and it really changed some of the trajectories. I know that it was wet, obviously, so it was affecting it a little bit, but on the sidelines, especially with the rubber pellets moved around, it was definitely impacting the ball.
Yeah. I mean, when we did Capital Combustion, I think we had a whole segment to talk about the baseball turf. So I'm just happy to hear Turf Watch come back. It just brings back fond memories.
Are we gonna bring back Cross Watch too later?
Oh, I mean, we need more stats. I need cross numbers at my disposal. Absolutely, that's coming back.
We need to get Charlie on the podcast sometime.
Yes, absolutely. But luckily, I figure at this point, I unfortunately wasn't able to watch live because of shenanigans. But I imagine watching live. We'll talk about this later, but four key starters were missing. So I imagine people were nervous at this point, down 1-0, knowing what we were missing, especially on the attack. But luckily, despair did not last long. Lansing earns a corner early on, and Noah Canlis playing that Munir role, especially on the free kicks, comes up big, outswinger into the box, and guess who it finds? The biggest dude on the field, Aiden O'Connor. Just look at him headed. His hair flows back. Just a monster header. What an intimidating dude. Not a guy you want to be in the box with right there. Puts it home, and it is 1-1. And I imagine that one felt good after just giving up a goal. Whether how much of that was his fault or not, I don't know. But what did you think of that one, Matt?
Well, I like the perspective of getting a goal back because he did seem like he was left on an island on that first goal, but I would say that was due to Gibbons being a little too high. They had been playing the ball over the entire time. Most of the time, getting called offside, and he wasn't between himself and between the goal and the offender. And Eric pointed out he put his hands up and just sort of let it go, and hung Aiden out on an island and just got beat. So yeah, it was really great to see him get it back. And Canlis was just on point all day with the corner kicks. It was fantastic. I don't know if there's going to be a debate on who takes the corner kicks from now on, if they happen to both be on the field, because he was really good with those. And it was great to see O'Connor just slam that in.
Man, that's a good topic, man. Maybe I should have had that on the outline. We might have to address that a little later. But yeah, I mean, in soccer, when you screw screw up once again. Don't really know if it was a screw up. You don't always get the chance to get another shot at compensating. So I said, and he was pretty pumped after that one. Anything else you gleaned from that one, Luca?
Yeah, we did see Canlis in practice. He was working with coaches on placing that ball right in between the 6-yard area and the goal. It was coming. You know, they knew he had to be on free kick duty and corner kick duty, and he delivered. And finding big men like Aiden O'Connor, Jules, and guys like Dante as well in the box isn't hard to do when you can give a good cross.
Yeah, I mean, he was taking them from both sides too. So I believe we usually try and do in-swinging crosses and mix it up based off that, but it was all knowing. I mean, he had shots that were pretty solid on there. He had some nice. I mean, I'm sure we'll be talking about him more, but he had one hell of a performance. But yeah, I thought Lansing had a pretty solid first half overall. Didn't score any other goals in that first half, but it felt like something was coming, and it did in the 56th minute. Another Lansing goal. Aiden O'Connor gets the attack started with. He's just everywhere. He's part of every goal. One way or another. He gets the attack started with great line breaking pass. You're going to see on the screen here in a second. Finds Meshke in the middle. Lansing works its way all the way to the left wing to Morissette, who plays a ball in, gets past a bunch of guys, and guess who's there? Kyle Scott. And he puts it home. Play eerily similar to what we saw in the first friendly of the year against Fort Wayne. That fullback to fullback connection, purposeful or not. A lot to like on this one, Eric.
Yeah, for sure. And actually, the thing that continues to stand out as I watch this replay is that he plays a small part, but Ben Meshke winning that ball and just quickly laying it off. The way that that hold up play to just bring the rest of the team into that play is so important. And I think we have. I don't know if any of our other forwards quite do that in the way that Meshke does there. We're really good going forward and making those attacking runs. But I love seeing him in there, and you see I think the best of it in this moment, for the way that he brings the rest of the team into those plays.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll be talking about Meshke later, so I'll just say when you were kind of telling me about all the guys we were going to be missing, one of them being Shetty, I believe I drunkenly told you, I'd really like to see Meshke get the start, and I thought he more than proved he was worthy of that start today in multiple facets. Had some great attempts on goals that arguably had a goal. Tough to tell with our camera, but might have very well had a goal. And said this was another good example of some of his hold up play too. Any other thoughts on that one, Matt?
Well, I agree with you. I think it was a fantastic long ball, long on the ground pass to the middle, and yeah, it was a great play. Catch the ball with his back to the goal. And basically a perfectly executed overlap to the outside to Dante. It was a fantastic goal. Great to see Kyle Scott. He's here. He's there. He's everywhere. Get another one.
Luca,
I thought it was a family-friendly version. Family-friendly version.
Yeah, you don't have to do that on this pod, Matt. Luca, in your post-game interview with Oaks, he was pumped about the fullback to fullback thing happening again.
Yeah, he loved it because they work on it on training. They know both of them, Dante and Kyle, they're both standing in crosses. And they're both two fullbacks who are hungry to score goals, especially Kyle. Kyle's already got a cut. Kyle's already bagged some in the year. He loves it. If you saw his celebration after that goal, he just gets so pumped when he scores, and he loves it. He loves the attention. He loves getting that goal, and especially to put Lansing 2-1 ahead. It was just unbelievable for him. And the whole play in general is something that Oaks has been working on for really this entire season. That starting from 8 and playing direct up to the forwards and building out off of that and catching the teams out of possession. Brilliant stuff.
Yeah, I didn't actually notice the celebration until just the last time seeing it, and I saw it for a split second. Was he doing the big balls dance, or was it something else?
I'm not sure, but he did put. I think he did the Gareth Bale heart celebration.
Oh, I think that was Julian, or maybe he did.
It was either Julian, but either way, I saw Kyle do it. Yeah, but Kyle did do a little celebration there. He was pumped.
Okay, yeah, I'm pretty sure he did the same. Cassell. All right, 78th minute. Lansing with a key goal to go ahead. Once again, I thought strong play. I thought they continued to create better chances for the most part, and they were rewarded in the 70th minute. Noah, another opposite side corner quick, so this time it's an in-swinger. This time he finds the captain, Julian Burge, similar to last time, perfect in there. Julian puts it home, and despite all his experience, despite everything, continues to maybe be the most excited person on the team after scoring. He scored 3 goals now, but every time I feel like it's like his 1 goal a year, the way he celebrates, which I love. Any thoughts there, Eric?
I just watching the replay again. I mean, yeah, the celebration is hilarious. It's amazing to me how wide open he is, and like he just continues to find that space. I think like all of his goals this year are times when he's just like he's found that little pocket of space to get into and just puts it in. Yeah, no, that celebration is just so fun to watch.
So 2 other things. I'm just happy for Julian because we called both of his other goals trash goals, and not in a bad way, but it's just it is what it is. And I'm happy for him that he had a slightly more visually appealing goal there. And just talking about the camaraderie of the team and Luca being in training, you might have some good insight here. I love seeing Shad Cunningham being the first guy to greet him when he gets there, because I mean Shad is the 4th. There's 4 goalkeepers on this team. Shad hasn't had a chance to even play yet this year, but he's the first guy out there, just pumped as hell to see him.
Yeah, absolutely. You talk about the camaraderie of this team, and everyone just loves each other. If you ever want to experience how well bonded of a team they are, go on the bus with them. You'll hear them talk, you'll hear them laugh, you'll hear them all of them have a good time together, and they just genuinely all love to play with each other. So, and I think that's huge. It goes huge going forward because they trust each other. Every single one of these guys puts it all on the line. And like you said, and Shad, even though he hasn't had a lot of game time, really any game time, he goes to practice all the time. He's always present. He's always helping everyone. He's picking up balls, and he's really putting work in there to try to get some minutes eventually down the road. So props to him, and I hope he keeps going, and I really hope to see him in a game.
I hope so too. I'm really cheering for that. I mean, Nicholson obviously. I don't know if we'll touch on him too much, but he had another solid game. He's very reliable. Restham had a nice friendly. I'd love to see Shad get a shot too. I gotta imagine he's gonna be really good too. But yeah, Matt. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but it just seems like we have bigger dudes than at least a lot of the teams we're facing when we're in these set pieces in the box.
We do. We like 2 our headers today, and some by Shetty in the past have just been like, wow, they were so open, just towering above. Although the president is on here, so I think you might want to give a disclaimer after what Luca said, that is most likely not an invitation for every fan to show up and jump on the bus on the way to the I'm guessing it's really only the board and the commentators that actually get to do that. But no, it's fantastic watching these corner kicks. And in relation to that 3rd goal, I give some props to Chef Q in the middle, who intercepted the ball, and that was why the ball had just stayed down on that end. We had multiple corner kicks for Canlis to put it in. And while we're on goals, if I could just like backtrack to the 2nd goal really quick and give one more shout out before we're done talking about goals to Luca for his call on that 2nd goal. If you watch the replay, his call was, he headed it in with the force of 1,000 waves. I thought that was awesome. And I think you could rival Ray Hudson if you could just get a Scottish accent in there.
I'll put it in there next time.
Luca is from San Diego, so he knows maybe a little more about waves than some of us too. So I take him at his word there. But yeah, that's also a good time to promote the fact that if you do want to be on the bus next year, you're gonna have to put in for the board, win an election. Let's go. Anyone has a shot to be on the bus. They just got to work for it a little bit. And then, well, I guess before we get to the last BiH goal, we'll talk about the near goal. I believe it was somewhere around the 83rd minute. Foul by Kyle Scott, 80th minute. Kyle Scott in the box. Kind of an early challenge here. We'll talk about maybe some of Lansing's late game struggles in a bit, but for the play itself, you see BiH working their way up, and just kind of an uncharacteristic. I mean, Kyle gets pretty. He gets bold with some challenges. That was a tougher play by him,
and really unnecessary too. Like the guy's gonna run into Aiden and Hunter there. Like, yeah, definitely didn't need to go in on that.
So sets up right away for the PK. You got Nicholson in there, and you know this is once again. We'll talk more about the missing players, but I wasn't that worried. You know, Zach Kelly was actually not a guy I was worried about at all missing the game, because I have a lot of faith in Nicholson, and he showed it right there. Huge play. The ball even comes right back, as you'll see it. He's on it, covers it up. Hell of a play by him. That kept it 3-1, which ended up being really important, because in the 90th minute, BiH does get their second goal. Some sharp passing in the middle of the field totally breaks down Lansing's D. Mendez of BiH explodes past Canlis in the middle, and I'm not gonna lie, Canlis worked his ass off all game. Maybe he was running out of legs just a little bit because he got burned pretty bad. But the give and go makes it through the line. Nice put away there. I mean, a skill play by BiH, honestly. More than anything else, but maybe some tired legs and lack of focus on the end. What do you think there, Luca?
Yeah, absolutely. BiH in their attacking play, one of the best teams I think we've played so far in controlling the way they play. They're quick, they're aggressive, they're fast. And most importantly, as you see in that goal, how quick they're playing off of the man. He's giving him the ball there, pass, and right away he's finding the next one. So you have to give props to a team that can play like that and be on the run. So it was a tough game to defend for the players.
Any additional thoughts, Eric, on that one?
No, I think you guys summed it up well, and I completely agree there. I'm just like seeing a little bit of fatigue towards the end, not quite closing down in the middle, but yeah.
Hey, I know I had one hell of a game, worked all 90, worked his ass off all game, so not giving him too hard a time. I thought he was excellent. As spoilers, you might find out in my man of the man match vote. But that was it. They held on. Some nervy time after that, but we held on, and it's 3-2. BiH, who had not lost to that point, loses to Lansing Common FC. And I mean, I'd say Lansing won XG solidly too. I thought they were the better team. I felt, honestly, this is probably the best performance I felt from Lansing all year, especially considering the missing guys. So let's talk that first. That was the big story coming in. Lansing would be missing 4 starters: Josh Adam, center back Zach Kelly, and then Munir Shirali and Shetty Omar, all for various reasons. Eric, we were kind of talking about before the game, so I'll go to you. Did you feel like maybe a little more pessimistic, knowing that such important guys would be missing?
I mean, I still felt good about the game, like going into it, but I was worried. Hunter obviously played really well, but I love what Josh Adam brings to that back line, and so not having him concerned me a little bit. But then the other thing, just like not having the combination of Mooney and Shetty, coming off a weekend in which we, created a decent amount of chances, but weren't able to put them away. Like those two are probably our best, at least based on the season so far, our best chance creators and finishers. So that's what had me a little bit concerned. Like, would there be enough in the attack to win, to have a good game? And credit to the guys that stepped up. And Oaks said to me the day before the game, he was like, we're missing guys. This is a chance for other guys to step up and make an impact. And, they did. I mean, guys coming in like Noah Canlis getting his first start in a while and picking up 2 assists, having a huge game. And, a few other guys that might not have started that just played really, really well. And it just shows, I think, the depth that this team has.
Matt, you're here for the emotional fan perspective. So let's hear some more panic. How are you feeling before the game?
Well, I wasn't really panicked necessarily about the game because there was a tornado headed our way, and
and that tornado was Aiden O'Connor. Is that what you're about to say?
But no, I don't think it was really panic. It was just sort of the unknown because Eric mentioned not having Mooney and Shetty. There was also the who's Ty going to pass to question. And even during the game, you saw Ty down on the wing, and it looked sometimes like he's down there in the corner and he wants to get rid of the ball, and it's like, where's Shetty? I want Shetty. But the guys really did step up. It was a really impressive performance, and I'm just curious, like, how would we have done if we had our normal starters? I mean,
Luca, I mean, we heard a little bit from Eric about what Oaks was saying, but what was he saying to the guys about having so many missing guys?
He emphasized that everyone needed to step up, and you're midway through the season, and if you're not getting those minutes off the bench or starting, this was your chance to show that you can step up in the place of guys like Shedi Omar and Munir Shirali, who have been really a staple in their positions, and a lot of them did. Like I said, we're going to go through a list of guys for man of the match who stepped up in the position of guys who weren't there. And most importantly, they fought for each other. They knew that they're not going to drop 3 points just because a lot of their guys aren't here. This team has a lot of depth, and you'd be crazy to think that the guys in that team wouldn't be able to compete at that level against BiH.
All right. Oaks has said, we have 20 good players. He has said that exactly. So if he believes that, then he's not concerned, right? And that's actually why I wasn't concerned. I mean, as good as Kelly's been, I feel really good about other keepers. Josh Adam was a tough blow, but Gibbons had played well to that point, and Hammers was around too, and he's played well in spurts. I think I was more worried about the missing Shetty and Munir. I actually thought Seth Russ might start. But yeah, Meshke stepped up as I hoped, and it was Noah who kind of took the Munir role and ran with it like big time, and not what I expected from it all. I had a lot of hype for Noah early in the season, but he's just been kind of filling in where needed, and he stepped up in the biggest way and in the biggest game, and so huge props to him. So 2 wins in a row, 2 big wins. We had the road win in Livonia you guys talked about last week, but 2 games where the end of the game wasn't always great. Luca, what are you hearing from Oaks maybe about some of the end of game issues?
The end of game, obviously, you need to close it out, because in the past, this team has gone 1 goal ahead, and then they lack a little bit of focus, and it makes it easy for other teams to go ahead and tie the game. So his emphasis on, okay, we can get the goal that puts us in the lead, but can we get the goal that kills the game, especially in those dying 20 minutes? You needed that, and today they showed it, and I think they were unlucky to get scored on and make it 3-2. But at the end of the day, he got that goal that killed the game.
Yeah, Steve's putting the stoppage time up so you can feel the pain all over again. Eric, what are you thinking about the end of the last few games, just some of the struggles?
Yeah, the thing of like just watching the game again on Saturday, I think one thing this team at least hasn't shown yet is the ability to just like patiently pass the ball around and kill a game off just by controlling the ball. I mean, part of it, I think, is the nature of, a few of the guys that we have on the wings and up top who, like, they get the ball and their instinct is just go at the goal. And it's completely understandable, especially, like, you get a guy who's coming in the 75th minute or whatever and, like, knows, like, hey, this is my chance. They want to go at goal. But I would love to see them, up 3-1, just take the foot off the gas a little bit in terms of possession and just, like, kill the game off with 1,000 passes.
Yeah, that's a good point, Eric. Because I mean, I like going for the goal, and analytically, the best decision usually to try and score a goal. But yeah, I mean, a little more passing could be helpful. I mean, you see here, I think we're just too quick, oftentimes too, to like go into the corner, to kill clock, and that is never an efficient way to kill clock. It never works. It literally kills like 5 seconds of clock, and then the refs, any 50-50 call seems to go the other team's way. They got the ball back. That happens every time. And then, a couple times late, I thought focus lacked a little, maybe some tired legs in there. Any other final thoughts on that, Matt?
Well, if I were to compare them, I mean, I was at Livonia too, and I think the feeling at the end of Livonia, at least for me, was a lot more nervy at Livonia, holding that one off than holding this one off. Eric, I was waiting for the full phrase, death by 1,000 passes. You almost got there. You got the 1,000 passes, bro. I was waiting for the full one, but I got to agree with Eric. If we could just go Barcelona style and death by 1,000 passes, then that would help a lot. But I did feel a lot more nervous at the end of Livonia than at the end of this one. I will say that.
So this did complete a undefeated June for Lansing in league play. Obviously, first couple games of the season, not always that great. What do you guys think's been the biggest factor in the June success? I'll start with you on this one, Matt.
Biggest factor in June success: scoring goals. That was scoring, at the Stars game, I thought we played great. I feel like we dominated the majority of all of these games. It was just a factor of did we put them in or not. And in the Stars game, we didn't. And then we finally started actually converting on a bunch of these opportunities. I mean, for this game, I watched the replay just recently, obviously, and I just recalled. I wrote down at about the 10-minute mark, like, I think I just saw Nicholson for the first time on the video feed because we were just controlling the play the whole time. And I think that's been the case for the majority of the games. We just finally started putting them in.
I agree with what you're saying, Matt. We're usually winning XG, and eventually XG comes around. I think that's what you're trying to say. I'm sure you agree with that, Eric.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely been a big part of it. I think the other thing is just the team, getting comfortable with their identity as a team. Like, you got a bunch of guys coming from, a whole bunch of different teams, and they all bring, different skill sets. And so figuring out, okay, how do they work best together, and like for them to figure that out in the field. I think we've seen just like they figured out how to play together, and that's led to, I mean, Oaks has talked about some of the mistakes that still need to get cut out. And I think that's where, like, from Saturday, we saw a couple goals given up on really, for the most part, individual mistakes. I guess that last one maybe was a pretty just nice team goal, but like they're putting together almost a complete game at this point. And I think if we can continue to do that and then, cut out a few of those mistakes, it'll just keep getting better, hopefully.
Luke, I really enjoyed your post-game interview with Oaks. He has this like kind of quiet intensity. Like, he's not like an in-your-face guy, but you feel his intensity even when he's kind of quiet. And I think I love him calling Julian Burge a winner, because I feel like that's a term I don't hear as much about like an individual soccer player. Like, that guy's a winner, But I can't help but feel as I watch this team that there's a lot of veterans, and that was kind of what Oaks was alluding to. There's a lot of veterans with like winning attitudes and that are like imprinting themselves on this whole team, and you see that unselfishness and that camaraderie like we kind of touched on earlier.
You're absolutely right. And the one thing that all those veterans share in common is that unselfishness and willing to help the younger guys. They step up in positions where they're needed. And again, these guys are playing with guys that are a little younger than them. So they have to be patient sometimes, and especially towards the beginning at the beginning of the season, they were patient with some of the mistakes they were making, especially defensively. And then going forward, a guy like Julian is just going to be there for you all the time. He's going to intercept. He's going to make that last-ditch tackle if he needs to cover your back. And same thing goes for Esteban Russell. Russell's been one of those guys who, when the team's not creating enough, he can put a foot in there and really give something. And so props to all those veteran guys who really have a great connection with the younger guys in this team, and they help them grow.
All right, it's time for hashtag tornado watch, literally. Kickoff was delayed for about 90 minutes. And hey, this is obviously everyone's first time running a soccer team. So this was your first time dealing with this kind of extreme weather as a board. So give me some insight, because I think most of us have no clue. What are the rules for playing with this kind of weather? I believe it's just lightning based. And I mean, is there like some sort of specific meteorologist you have to rely on to let you know if you can play? And I mean, did you have any concern about playing it during a tornado watch? I guess I'll throw it to Steve, since he's the game day operations man.
well, technically, we don't have a playbook that says line by line, this is inclement weather policy. So we kind of made that on our own, and it's kind of obvious what you need to do. And when there's lightning, the rule is always if you see it, you got to wait at least 30 minutes before you go back on the field. And in the instance of Saturday, we didn't have lightning so much as we had tornado sirens because there was a tornado warning within 30 miles of us. So there was no individual meteorologist per se, as much as it was the head referee is the one who makes the call ultimately. So we were sitting around with our phones showing him the radar, and the storm was moving faster and faster as it was getting close. So it was really a decision of do we start early and try and squeeze in some minutes and possibly a half, and then take a break when it happens, or do we just delay the start because it's inevitable that we're going to have to come off the field? So we kind of got the coaches together, the head referee, um, Eric and myself, and we're looking at radars and we're looking like, let's just not start because we don't want players to get loose and then have to go back in the locker room and have any kind of injury issues get heightened because of that type of situation. So we held off, and then, within minutes of when we were going to kick off was when the weather sirens were going off, and then we all got to shelter, and I'll let Eric take it from there.
Yeah, Eric, it was definitely a disappointing day for this kind of weather. Obviously, Pride Night, I think likely assuming a pretty nice turnout. First time with the Stacks food truck, huge game in general. Time of year, you'd expect some great weather. Any thoughts about delaying the game at any point during this day?
Yeah, so I mean, so that was one of the things. Earlier in the day, I had talked with like the league commissioner and a few other people in the league, and talked with BiH Grand Rapids, early that afternoon, just to kind of get how everyone was feeling. Because we knew at that point we had a tornado watch until 8 o'clock, and it looked like there was going to be bad weather. And in talking to BiH, we both said we both have packed schedules the next month. Let's do what we can to fit the game in. So our approach was if we can safely get 90 minutes or more than 45 minutes, really, because the league rule is that if you're past halftime and the game has to be abandoned, it's considered complete. We were going to do what we could to get that game in. And so, yeah, obviously disappointing with everything that was planned. And so we did make the decision to postpone Pride Night activities until July 31st, which will also be our season finale. And we were kind of talking about we kind of had bad luck with weather this season, with some games where it's been just insanely hot, and then a tornado. So maybe one of these days we'll get just a beautiful, just nice, comfortable day.
It's a pretty cold game too. First game, so we've hit everything. Right. We've hit everything except good weather. Okay, so that's good to hear that we'll have Pride Night, the sequel or the real Pride Night at the end of July. Luca, I believe Cam mentioned on the telecast you guys actually ended up in the locker room with the players. So just kind of curious what such a long wait is like when you're just kind of stuck in a little locker room.
Well, for me personally, it was kind of interesting. Never been in that situation before, ever. So have a little fun checking out what was going on, hearing the sirens go off for the first time. Always interesting to see. But locker room things, all the players were in there hydrating, because at the end of the day, we got word that the game was going to happen no matter what. It had to be something really severe for the game not to go on. So they were getting hydrated. They were still in their uniforms, in their training wear, pre-match get up, and they were hydrating, really stretching. Some players were there rolling out their thighs and their calves. And again, yeah, and some coaches were reviewing tactics with them and making sure that once we got word that we could take the field back, they were going to go in straight away, warm up quickly, and get ready to play.
All right, let's do man of the match from the tornado game. Luca, you're up first.
For me, no doubt. Once the final whistle blew, it had to be Noah Canlis. Not just because of the 2 assists and the way he created chances on the right and left wing, but mainly because his work ethic was phenomenal. I love the way he was working, and I love the way he stepped up in the place of Mooney Shirali, who was not there. So I love what Noah did, and I expect to see a lot more from him too.
Steve.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Noah as well. He had several key moments in the midfield where it was either a possession or a pass or an organization that he had set up. Louis Sheffield had some phenomenal footwork um, incidents that he avoided and he created that I thought were very impressive and really did a job for us in there. And he was frustrating the BiH players, and then they were equally getting on his nerves as well. And he held his composure as best as he could, and I was impressed with that. But yeah, with the corners and the precision that Noah brought, he had it for me.
Eric.
Yeah, I thought about saying someone different just to be contrarian, but I said Noah on Saturday at the game, and I can't go away from that now. For everything that's already been said, he's my man of the match.
Yeah, if Jeff was here, he'd probably be like, Aiden O'Connor. Matt.
Well, last time I knew that all of you were going to say the same name, I wanted to give Aiden O'Connor some love, and I went contrarian and did say Aiden O'Connor. And so I was rewatching, trying to think of who can I go contrarian with. I thought Dante had a pretty good game. Kyle did until he gave away the penalty. Meshke was great in the middle, but in the end, just because of his play, and I've got to go with all the rest of you and give it to the man who is sans Cam. He plays without cans, folks. I'm making it, I think, unanimous to Canless.
Yep. I'm going to jump on the Noah train too. I'll just say, honestly, he was, of all four subs from our usual starting lineup, he was the one I was like most, I'm not sure. We'll see. But I mean, he proved me wrong big time. And I'll say for one game at least, he kind of took over he's here, he's there, he's every fucking where. Kyle Scott. It was actually Noah Canless this time around. So props to him. A unanimous choice, well earned. Good for him. All right. So preview for this week, we'll kind of fly through this in the mailbag. But as alluded to, we play it on the road versus Fort Wayne FC tomorrow, a USL League 2 team. Same division as Kalamazoo FC, who we saw earlier this year. However, Kalamazoo's in first place of their division. Fort Wayne not doing so hot. They're second to last. So this is a more winnable game. Fort Wayne plays their rival South Bend on Saturday. So just like KZU, maybe even less so. I don't know if we'll get all their best. So we noted this before the season, but Fort Wayne's going pro in a few years. So that's what makes this tricky, right? And Oaks said before or after the game to Cam and Luca, his focus is really DCFC, but he's going to have his guys in front of a team that's going pro in a few years, and you probably want to give them any opportunity to showcase themselves there. Do you have any insight, Luca, into maybe how you think he'll play things out? Maybe the starters for like a half an hour and then pull them quick from there. What do you think that you'll see, or maybe hope you see?
Yeah, I think a lot of the players, we'll see starters in there, but minutes are going to be limited. He told us that things are going to be on a tight schedule with players' minutes, getting players in, getting players out. So I think Fort Wayne's a great team to see what players can do against such a talented side. They have good players. They have really good players, and USL2, even though they're second to last, they've played some tough teams, and they've actually given them really good games. And also, I'm looking out for one of Fort Wayne's players. I actually hope to see him play against our side. No Garcia is the top goal scorer for them. Even though he has 4 goals for them this season, he scored 18 goals and 8 assists at Indiana Tech last season. So those are impressive numbers.
Yeah, hopefully the game's streamed. I know some of you are making the trip, and I know it's a trip a lot of the board's probably most excited for of every trip. Just Eric, any last thoughts on heading out to Fort Wayne? Anything you want to see? Because I know you'll be there.
Not really, other than what's already been said, and it should be a good game. But yeah, I would expect heavy rotation. Maybe we see a preview of Sunday's starting lineup, and then 20, 30 minutes in, we start to see guys getting pulled off the field and getting some other guys some minutes.
All right, then it's July 4th. 2 p.m., the biggest game of the year, Detroit City FC, the most must-win of all the must-win games. You can see our guy Ken Sealman's excellent Star Wars-esque poster up there. Oh, did I say Ken?
You did.
Ken, I see mailbag ahead, and I just see Ken. So I'm thrown off there. But yeah, Eric Steelman, great graphic there, love it. So if that doesn't get you pumped, nothing will. DCFC is now, after beating the Stars today, 9-0-0. They've beaten the Stars twice. They haven't played us or BiH, but they've beaten just about everybody else. Their starting goalie, I guess, just got a red card in the game against the Stars. However, according to Luca, their top two goalkeepers, one is MSU's top goalkeeper, the other's U of M's top goalkeeper. So I'm not sure if that's going to be a huge deal. But yeah, it's a huge one. This is a team, I think, just based off watching Kalamazoo UFC against us, and then I've watched a few DCFC games on their excellent stream, the only other stream you can really watch great. They're probably on that level, like the upper tier of USL League 2. They have that quality of team, which you kind of expect from the organization and the fact that they have a pro team that's probably pretty good for recruiting. So, Luca, what have you heard on DCFC game? Obviously, this is the game that Oaks is all in on. Have you seen preparation and training really focused on this game?
Yeah, well, really preparation and training has been focused for both games and what's coming after as well. And really trying to fix the errors that happened against BiH. So a lot of it is focused on defense and then a quick transition offense. And yeah, you're going to play a DCFC team that I was just talking to one of their guys, said that they dominated the game against the Michigan Stars. I wanted to watch that game, but stream went off by halftime and was no longer available. But yes, they do play really well. They do have really talented players, and they have a lot of goal scorers. They're not just relying on 2 to 3 guys to get goals. They get goals from everywhere. Defensively, they have players from all over the state. So Cam and I have this game circled on our calendars for a long time because, I mean, they're now 9 games winning streak. I'm really excited to see what our team Lansing can do.
One of the games I watched of theirs recently was the game against Livonia, which I believe they won 2-0, but it was 0-0 most of the way. So I mean, I think they can. I think their defense scares me more than their offense. I wouldn't be shocked to see the 0-0, like against the Stars, but obviously, given positions on the table, you can see Steve's points per game and if we win out, a draw helps, but at home, I mean, if we're really looking to win it all, we probably have to win this game because I don't know if the help's coming from other teams. Eric, any additional thoughts? Anything else you've heard on this match? I mean, obviously for you guys from running the team perspective, I don't know if you're expecting a lot of away fans, if you know who's coming there, or if you've made any prep in that regard for Northern Guard.
And I certainly expect that there'll be more away fans there on Sunday than any other game this year. I don't know what that, if that means 10, if that means 100, who knows, but certainly there'll be more of that. Yeah, I think, like you just said a minute ago, I don't think there's going to be help coming in the form of anyone else taking points off DCFC. So if we're thinking of ourselves as contenders to win the division, it's a must-win game.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
And I will add that DCFC plays the NISA Championship on Saturday night.
Yep.
And our game on Sunday is at 2 p.m. So if the Northern Guard is going all out Saturday night, they're going to have an early morning to try and get it together and get to Lansing. So that may be in our benefit.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I mean, if just thinking realistically, just knowing myself, if I had my pro team's championship that night, if we assume they win, I guess if you lose or you win, you're probably drinking heavily after the game for one reason or another. So yeah, then you figure from Detroit, it's about an hour and a half drive. That means you got to be up and at them by 10 o'clock ish. If you really want to get there in good time, that might be tough. That might cripple who shows up. So we'll see. But yeah, the NISA Championship before, definitely in our favor in terms of atmosphere. So hopefully Lansing Common SG brings it. Stack's Food Truck will be back. I'm sure we were very pumped about them, but obviously with the weather, I doubt. I don't even know if they ran or.
A couple of people got food from Stacks before the weather really hit.
They actually sold more food to the Grand Rapids players than they did our fans because they were scrambling to get food as we were getting delayed.
So I'm expecting a good turnout for them. I'm excited to try it out because I'll be there. And I think it's just gonna be a fun time, intense game. So I think you'll feel that intensity in the stands. Matt, fan perspective, what do you think your nerve level is going to be at that game?
Oh boy, pretty high. I mean, it's the biggest game of the year, and we're clearly going into it as the underdog. We're the I've watched a couple DCFC games, but unless Pato is now playing for the U23 team, I don't think I was watching the team that we're going to be playing on Sunday. So, but coming in 9-0, it's coming in 9-0 and being an underdog. It's when you're the underdog, it's all about defense. You've got to shore that up and then hope that what chances you get, you can convert. And we've got defenders that like to go forward. So when they do, when Dante and Scott go up, our midfielders tracking back and covering. It's gonna be it's gonna be nervy, man. We're gonna be ready in the stands.
Yeah, I mean, being at home, I'd say Lansing. If I was setting the odds, it'd probably be like plus 150. Slight underdogs. But yeah, I mean, we're definitely the underdogs coming in, no doubt about that. But it's also not a game out of Lansing's reach. So. Anyone who knows me knows I will be very nervy that day. I'll be working a little bit before the game, so that'll be tough, but I'll get through it and be there and ready with some stacks.
Are you going to be working, or are you going to be at work not doing much?
I will be out. I will be present at work. All right, let's run through this mailbag real quick. It's all Ken questions anyway. We've been talking about Stacks BBQ. Ken was curious for some backstory about how we got them to commit to the rest of the season. Eric or Steve, whoever has better over.
Well, before I flip it to Steve, I'll just say I'll let Steve answer. But Steve should get a ton of credit for calling probably every food truck in the Mid-Michigan area, trying to get food trucks out to our games this year. So super excited that a few have been finally available for us.
Yeah, because we had the late approval from the school district, so most of them got booked up in the first couple months because they were expecting, a summer of relaxed COVID regulations. So yeah, it was tough pulling off. So with Stacks, one of their primary owner has a son who basically grew up with Cody Revis. So I saw through Cody when he was helping them announce that they were, a new truck and barbecue. I immediately reached out because I'm like, oh, you're probably not booked up for the summer like everybody else. And there's that nice Cody connection there. They like soccer. They were really happy to, once they got their approval and their inspection passed, to be at all the rest of our home games. They're going to be there. So that's how it came through. It was from Cody, just putting it out there on social media, and I jumped on it.
Eric, Steve saying that makes me think to myself, how often are you doing things in everyday life and you see something and you think to yourself, oh, I wonder if I can apply this to Lansing Common FC somehow?
All day, every day.
It's just constantly. I do the same every time I see a meme. I'm like, how can this relate to Lansing Common FC's social media page? But yeah, I'm really excited about them. I think that's been a missing element. Obviously, Steve said why, so I'm sure year 2 will be much better there. But when you can't have beer, if you can have good food, I think that helps. And I know the first game or two, a couple people are like, oh man, I wish there was food. So I'm very excited for that, and I think that's great for the club. Ken asked a couple questions that we tackled. He asked about our thoughts on putting 3 past BiH without Shetty or Munir. Matt, what did you think there? Surprising?
I don't know about surprising while watching the game, because while watching the game, we were really dominating play. It could have been more. I mean, Aiden almost had one in there. Danger Russ and Rosendale almost hooked up for another one.
Meshke probably might have actually had a goal.
Oh yeah, actually could have had another one. So I don't know if it was really surprising, but man, it was great to see. It was great to see other guys stepping up and taking the chances and converting on them. And I just love to see the celebrations. I love to see the emotion. It's awesome. Although my favorite celebration is still the Actually, I got to go with it was both of the Livonia games. The kick of the corner flag and the Mooney coming over to us. It was so I love the emotion and I love to see it, and it's great. It's great to see it from other people. It's great to see it from other guys as well.
Yeah, and special note to Stebby's handspring backflip against Grand Haven.
Good call. Good call.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you are right, man. It's easy to just watch the goal highlights and think, oh, well, we really relied on set pieces. But yeah, the run of play, I mean, they had plenty of chances too. And said, tough to tell, but I kind of surprised that Meshke's wasn't called a goal. I wonder if they weren't in the right spot to call that one. What do you think, Luca? Were any surprises there? Any surprises from Oaks? You know, we haven't always been big time goal scorers, especially without our stars.
No, it didn't surprise me in this game that the goals were going to come even without our big guys there. Just because I saw the hunger in the team and the willingness to attack and score, I said even if Shetty's going to be one of our most clinical guys, I said the guys that are there show the depth and show how well and the quality they can play with, and they can really add to the attack. So it didn't surprise me. I don't know about the rest of the crew, but honestly, the more thing that I was surprised with was honestly with how well they dealt with situations where they had to defend well, and BiH was pressing really high. This is one of the most high pressing teams that you're going to play all year, and I think for large spells of the game, they dealt really well with it.
All right, and final question here as we wrap up. Eric, do you have any juicy stuff you could tell us from these league meetings?
Not really. I mean, so there haven't been a ton of meetings during the season, mostly because everyone running the league is involved with a club in the league. And so there's not a whole lot of like extra time for, no one wants to add extra meetings to their week in addition to running games. So there's like disciplinary committee, which reviews incidents, and like anytime there's a red card, reviews it to see if there should be an additional suspension, stuff like that. But for Ken and for anyone else out there, when there is any information that we, that comes out of anything that we can share, gets shared very quickly, either on social media or in Slack, whatever. So there's not like lots of stuff going on that we're just not telling you about.
Yeah, I'm not sure how the disciplinary committee works with some of the streams we have.
It's a challenge. It is a challenge. You rely heavily on referee reports, and I mean, I'll say that's one thing that I'm glad we have the live stream and the record, like good recording, because if there ever was an incident at one of our games, we would have the video evidence to show very clearly what happened.
Right. Yeah. If you're a player, it would not be wise to do tomfoolery, we'll say, at a Lansing Common home game, because we have a Scott Overlander stream, so that's not good for you.
I'm also going to shout out Damber, our camera person, who he makes all the pictures happen. Scott blends everything together. Damber Majar has been doing a great job with the camera all season.
Absolutely, great call out. All right, well, that's it for this week. Man, one hell of a week coming up. I'm excited. I'm nervous. God, if it'll be a pod, I will be drinking during the next pod, several beers mid pod if we win against DCFC, or well, maybe if we lose too. So, Eric, thanks for joining.
Thanks for having me,
Luca. Keep it up, man. You and Cam, I feel like you get better every week. I don't know if you feel the same way, but I just feel the chemistry growing between you guys, and it just seems like every week you get more comfortable.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And Matt, thanks for bringing the heart. Thanks for the short notice jumping on. You're one hell of a Rosendale.
Thank you. That's the biggest compliment I've gotten all day. Can I shout out some fans really quick?
Yeah, go for it.
So those that toughed it out and stayed, Erica, the community outreach organizer, and her couple friends, they waited out the tornado. Patrick and Stephanie also waited out the tornado. I actually left and came back at halftime. So I do not get as much props as those people. Props on waiting out the storm and staying to cheer on your team.
And And Steve, the man behind the scenes, thanks as always for everything you do.
Yeah, and I would just say that was a very Rosendale performance by Matt, coming in after the half and bringing the energy.
There we go. There we go. Yeah, Steve, thanks for dealing with the tornado. Thanks for everything you're doing behind the scenes on this pod and the team.
Happy to be here.
All right, guys. Well, we will be talking to you likely next Wednesday again, 8:30. Hopefully we have good news to talk about. So we'll see you then.